East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals, we are live.
Good morning and welcome to the Village of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Friday, March 10th. On the agenda today, we have the minutes from February 10th, 2023. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have 4 determinations today, and the entire files are available at Village Hall. The first application, in the application of Hampton Residence LLC, 16 Nichols Lane, Suffolk County Tax Map number 301-13-11-11, to legalize a shed, a bin, and a walkway is granted with conditions, and to legalize a fence, lighting, and gazebo, a deck is denied. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Pam, you have to pull the board on this. Sorry, guys. Ladies. Yes.
Mr. McMullen?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
Mr. Rose?
Yes.
In the application of Philip Shuttleworth and Paula Marie Harvey, 72 Panago Road, Suffolk County Tax Map number 301-4-7-7.1, to construct additions to an existing residence and to convert a third-story attic into a habitable space is granted with conditions. May I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Pam, please poll the board.
Mr. McGurk?
Yes.
Mr. McMullen?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Do you want to read this one? Because I'm not on that one.
In the application of EH 226 LLC, 226 Further Lane, Suffolk County Tax Map number 301-5-3-11.5 and 11.6, to install an elevated pedestrian walk is granted with conditions. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Pam, can you poll the board?
Mr. McMullen?
Yes.
Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Okay, and the last determination of the day, in the application of 53 Lily Pond Lane LLC, 53 Lily Pond Lane, Suffolk County Tax Map number 301-13-13.2, to construct a swimming pool. A pool house is granted with conditions. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Well, Pam, can you poll
Mhm.
the board?
Mr. McMullen?
Yes.
Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
We have 2 requested adjournments today, Oran Properties LLC and the Jewish Center of the Hamptons. And now we have our continued hearing, 12 Egypt Close. Trevor?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This matter was put over on the last day. I think Mr. Rose wanted to go take a look at the property. And we had some objecting neighbors who had appeared on the last date, and I believe they have sent a follow-up letter to the board today. So I would just note that for the record that per the survey, the pool variance for the addition to the pool doesn't cross the pool accessory pool setback line. That would be nearest this objecting neighbor. So the variance that could potentially impact them would be the proposed doorway, but it's my opinion and the applicant's opinion that we're seeking the most minimal variance we could to achieve the benefit to the applicant, and I think the benefit to the applicant substantially outweighs any detriment to the neighbor.
Trevor, any comments from the board?
No.
Any comments from the public? Okay, make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Trevor. Okay, we have the Rosary LLC, 146 Main Street, Huber.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members, village representatives, John Huber on behalf of the applicant. John Huber of Dayton Voorhees and Balsam here in East Hampton on behalf of the applicant. We have continuing today since December 9th. There were several adjournments during the interim. Mr. DeBoer is here, the budding neighbor. I'd like to yield the podium to him briefly if the board agrees, and give him an opportunity to speak and present his points. Thank you.
I'm glad to have you make the presentation. So
Okay, fair enough.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, then I'd like to have Mr. Rose up. He is a member of the applicant.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I really wanted to
I
start,
need to swear you in. I'm sorry. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
I am Andrew Rose. I am manager of the Rosary LLC. My address is PO Box 4360, Greenville, Delaware, 19807.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to give a little bit of background. My name is Andrew Rose. I'm a direct descendant of Ezekiel Sanford, who built the bridge in Bridgehampton in 1680. My family has been responsible now for 14 generations of the Sanford homestead in Bridgehampton on Bridge Lane, which some of you may know. Having been out here all my life, I remember as a child where we did not have electricity. And sadly, the Iceman no longer came in 1963, so my parents had to put electricity into the old house. The reason I bring that up that's relevant is that houses have to evolve over time. We need electricity, we need bathrooms. When I took over this house from my father, who inherited it from Helen Parker, again, at 146 Main Street, I'm sure you all know the property. It's a very historic house, and my family's always maintained and kept historic houses. The Mulford Parker House, as I'm going to refer to it now, is one of the gateway properties into East Hampton. And frankly, it's been neglected for the last 20 years. My parents, as they got older, could not access the second floor. Mrs. Parker, who you may or may not know, owned the Barn Bookshop in town for years. As she got older, could not access the second floor. The problem with these old houses is they need to evolve and be updated for current generation. The major issue with the old house is there's no decent access to the back second floor. There's a very steep upward staircase that my father fell down at least twice that I know of, at one time breaking his shoulder. So when we took over the house just before COVID, to solve what I could consider as a major safety issue for the house, and that is access to the second floor, both for egress to get up and down the stairs, but also in case there was a fire or whatever else to go. So we engaged who I think is a wonderful local architect, Pam Postel, who I think has probably one of the most sensitive feelings for old houses here in East Hampton, as you all probably know. So what we did, we have a plan to redo basically the back half of the house, non-historic the house. We're really not touching the front, the historic part of the house whatsoever, in order to put in a safer staircase that comes up, that is actually accessible, is utilitarian, as well as just doing a general update of the mechanicals, which obviously need electricity. Like all old houses, the electric has probably outlived its usefulness, and the whole house really does need what I call a generational update. So basically, we've come up with plans which you've all been submitted. Our good neighbor, Carl DeBoer, has objected to the height and the blockage of some of it. So what we've done in my and the architect's meeting was where we have actually dropped the roof line fairly substantially by about 4.5 feet, I think it is. I don't think before it would have affected the light and heat, and I've got photographs you want to see it of showing that the light really comes from Main Street, not the side of the house. The other thing, the roof line is the existing roof line of the house is already underneath the tree line of the house, if you look at it. So it really, although I completely understand with Mr. Bohr that nobody likes to change construction next door, just no Guild Hall on the other side of us. I think what we're trying to do is simply update the house to a safety concern. So what we're really asking for, we're not moving the existing footprint of the house whatsoever. We're simply adding a second floor on Mr. DeBoer's side of the house over the existing footprint. This stairway is going to go, making the staircase. So what we're asking for is really just, I think, 100-foot variance, which is less than the size, half the size of the tables that you're all sitting in. So really, I hope you will approve what we've done by growing the roof line and doing things as is, so that we can go ahead and really update the house and really make it a wonderful gateway to East Hampton as it really should be, because it's been neglected. So we can really make the Mulford, Parker, and Rose house safe and usable for future generations. Thank you all very, very much.
Mr. Rose. Huber?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I appreciate it. So brief comments. The board is always very patient with me today. I promise not to try your patience. So since our December 9, 2022 public hearing adjourned to today, members of the Rose family and project architect Pospisil have conferred with Mr. DeBoer, owner of the abutting parcel at 144 Main Street. As a result of those communications, on March 3rd, I submitted on applicant's behalf 10 sets of revised elevation sheets, all dated March 3rd. Each of those 10 sets of plans included the following. One sheet depicting a proposed side south elevation and a proposed front or west elevation. One sheet depicting the proposed side north elevation and the proposed rear east elevation, and then one sheet numbered A3 at the lower right corner, which depicts all the elevations on one sheet. These sheets confirm that as an accommodation to Mr. DeBoer, applicant has lowered his proposed roof ridge lines respectively from 25 feet 5 inches and 22 feet 10 and a half inches down to 21 feet 11 and a quarter inches and 20 feet 2 inches, and has also altered the proposed roof pitches from 10 and 12 to 7 and 2. And the intent of those alterations was to address Mr. DeBoer's concerns about any sunlight. This results in an approximate 4-foot reduction in height for the highest ridge. Just to recap the other key elements of applicant's proposal, the benefit applicant requires is an updated family-friendly floor plan that will promote optimized use and enjoyment of the house and adjacent outdoor spaces. The proposed improvements are also required to make the house habitable consistent with contemporary living standards. As Mr. Rose just articulated, a major aspect of this is to enlarging, reconfiguring, and relocating the house's central staircase to the north side of the house to optimize flow between first floor rooms and improve access between the first and second floors. It's important to note that the existing staircase is both narrow and steep, and the proposed alterations will provide a much safer, user-friendly alternative. Applicant's modest addition on the house's north side will be placed directly above the existing side exit, which would be removed, and that is the exit that is between applicant's home and Mr. DeBoer's home. So that side exit would be removed, and the house's footprint in that location would not be altered. The applicant will also remove 220 square feet area of existing brick patio adjacent to the house's north and east sides. If I may, Pam, do you think you want to cover some of what the plans are and the changes? Did you have any comments to tighten up everything, or would you like to just
that it's said it was reduced to 7 and 12, not 7 and 2 as you.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. At this point, we could either have Mr. DeBoer come
I
up
think
and
so,
speak.
because if anything, you'll probably want me to address his
Very
comments.
good. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Carl DeBoer, 144 Main Street here in East Hampton.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies for not being able to attend the December meeting for medical reasons. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had to wait this long. First of all, I want to stress that the Rose family are fantastic neighbors in every respect. So I want to be a good neighbor too, as much as we can. But as I laid out in my letter in December, 144 Main Street and 146 Main Street, the structures are usually close together for Main Street. historically done, nobody's fault. And when the houses were changed hands, it was the case. I think I'm one of the 3 year-round residents on Main Street. It's a sad statement to make, but it's fact. So for those of us, or you who have ever lived on Main Street, side yard and backyard become extremely important for peace of mind. And so having said that, the way the houses on Main Street are all designed is that all the major rooms are facing south. So with my luck, all the rooms are facing the back of the Rose property. And it isn't so bad now because the way the back is designed, it sets back so the steps up. And that's why we have a view, we have the sunlight coming in, and actually we can see Guildhall, and we can see the flag post and the flag from my house. And what I'm afraid of is that the proposed alterations are going to take a lot of that away, if not all. So I must say, both Mr. Rose and the architect Pam have reached out. We met on separate occasions, and these were, I would say, good meetings. However, and the Roses have indeed graciously agreed to lower the roof by a good bit. So that is an improvement what is concerned. The only thing is the second addition, the second story to the existing non-conforming addition, which is very close to the property line. I was hoping to find a way that that whole thing could be pushed back by a couple of feet, but I've been convinced by both Mr. Rose and Ms. Pospisil that that is not an option, that there's only one location for the staircase and the powder room, and that's on my side of the property, which, as I can only stress, is very close to the property line. So I stand my case. I thank you for the attention. But in all cases, I want you to know I also want to be a good neighbor to the Roses, who are good neighbors to me. So thank you.
Interesting. Mr. Pospisil is going to step up. She's the project architect. Thank you.
I'll keep my comments brief because we've heard it all before.
State your name and address for the record.
Pospisil and Brown Architects, 141 Hampton Road, Southampton, New York.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
The challenge of this project resulted from 2 things. 1, it's located in a non-conforming location, and 2, it's in the historic district. So our goal was, 1, to respect and be sensitive to the view that will be seen from Main Street, 2, limit the variances required, and 3, create a design which would address the flow and livability issues within the house. I believe that our design has been successful in that way, and that we have minimally impacted the view, if at all. It's hardly even seen. The changes are hardly even seen from Main Street. 2, we've expanded the footprint minimally, majority of which is in a conforming location. And the one portion of the house that is being expanded, which is the 96 square feet that requires the variance, is not expanding any closer to. Is not expanding any closer to Mr. DeBoer's property, but rather just going up over the existing footprint. And to address that point that Mr. DeBoer, if we could push that in, well, 1, we don't want to give up the square footage that we have, but 2, to push that in, it reduces the impact of the ridge very minimally. In other words, the width of a building, the pitch of the roof is what determines the height of the building. So if we push it in the 2 feet or so that he's asking, it's only going to bring the ridge line down minimally, I mean inches. So it doesn't work in terms of the plan and the location that the stair needs to be for the flow of the house, but B, it would also impact the roof line very minimally.
You already lowered it 4.5.
Yes, in the new proposal, it's coming down roughly 4.5 feet. So I think that's a fairly significant address to his issues. And then the other thing is just that I'd like to point out, because the rest of it you've heard, is that we are giving up patio on that side of the house. That is potentially a livable, noisy, activity that's being given up. And the area that is going up that requires the variance is a stair, which again will impact his privacy minimally because it's not a living space where people are looking out windows into his yard. I do have a picture here that I could give you that shows that Mr. Rose actually took on December 17th. It shows the two houses together, and it is taken on a day that's close to the shortest day of the year. And you'll see that the house already is in shadow. So I don't think we're necessarily impacting this in a major way. You want to hand this? So that I think covers most of the points I think that were raised. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any board members have any questions? No. I think we're good, Mr. Huber.
Thank you for entertaining the adjournments, et cetera. And just to be clear, the supplemental sheets I submitted on March 3rd are only intended to supersede the corresponding sheets in the original materials. Everything else that we submitted originally will stand as is.
Do we have enough? We have all the materials that we need?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion to close the hearing. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on to the new hearings of the day. We have Benjamin Zucker Trust, 38 Hunting Lane. Pam?
Application of
Jimmy's recusing himself on this one.
Application of Benjamin Zucker Trust, Suffolk Tax Map Number 301-3726.2 for area variances from Chapter 278 zoning to construct accessory structures. A variance is requested from Section 278-3A9A to permit 8,074 square feet of coverage, where the maximum permitted coverage is 6,833 square feet. The legally pre-existing coverage is 8,003 square feet. Variances of 5 feet and 4 feet are required from Section 278-3A5C to construct a cellar, stair, well, 45 feet and 24 feet from side yard lot lines, where the required side yard setbacks are 30 feet. A 25-foot variance is required from Section 278-3A5A to construct a cellar stairwell 20 feet from the front yard lot line, where the required yard setback is 45 feet. The subject property is 31,667 square feet in area and is located at 38 Hunting Lane in Residence District R40 in the Hunting Lane Historic District. This project is classified as a Type 2 action in accordance with SECRA and requires approval of the Design Review Board.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Hi, good morning, John Tarvin for the applicant. Pretty straightforward application. We are looking to rebuild the pool house. The new pool house will be an exact same footprint, but it will have a basement. The advantage to adding the basement is we're going to put the pool equipment, which is currently not in the pool house, in the basement of the pool house. So there'll be a benefit as far as the sound attenuation for ourselves and for our neighbors. The other thing we're looking to do is add a spa over an existing brick patio. So two pretty straightforward variances. I don't think there's any detriment, and there's a fair amount of benefit to the applicant who's owned the property for a long time. Other than that, I'm just here.
Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak on this? Any board members like to speak on this?
But just note that the spa is going closer to the house, so it impacts the neighbors less.
Okay. A motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Then we'll move into the second hearing.
Application of Patricia H. Robert, 2020 Family Trust, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 301915 for wetlands permit in Chapter 163 and area variances from Chapter 278 zoning and to legalize 5 AC condenser units. Variances of approximately 7.4 feet are required from Section 278 3A5A to legalize the construction of 5 AC condenser units the nearest of which is located approximately 47.6 feet from the front yard lot line, where the required front yard setbacks are 55 feet. The wetlands permit, in accordance with the provisions of sections 163.3 and 163.5, and variances of approximately 52 feet are required from section 278.388 to legalize 5 AC condenser units, the nearest of which is located approximately 98 feet from wetlands, where the required wetland setbacks are 150 feet. The subject property is 49,661 square feet in area and is located at 117 Egypt Lane in Residence District R40. This project is classified as a type 2 action in accordance with SECR.
Jonathan?
Hi, John Tarbett from the applicant. Also, pretty straightforward application. This is actually, if you've been to the house, had a chance to go to the house, it's unique. It's over 400 years old. It was originally moved from Amagansett to this location. There is a historic inventory on the house. It's a really interesting home, mostly unchanged in 400 years. 3 stories, originally obviously built without AC. So it wasn't until relatively recently that the AC was added. It was added without building permits, and the house is now for sale. So as part of the preparing for selling the house, we started looking at everything to make sure it was legal, and found out the AC units were added without a building permit. They also, unfortunately, were added too close to the front. It's this, in essence, the real variance here is from the front property line, Egypt Lane. The wetlands are on the other side of the house, pool, and the garage. So the real variance here is a small variance from the street. You may ask why there are 5 AC condensers, and that was, I'm told, and forgive me if this doesn't sound right, but as a really old home, without demoing, you would probably know better than me, but without demoing the whole interior of the house and running HVAC throughout, which you could probably get away with 1 or 2 condensers, they did short runs, which was why there's 5 condensers. So when we discovered that these, and it's a relatively small variance, it is a small variance. The first thought is, well, can we move them, right? Like, why ask for variance? And it's just the way the property is laid out. They get close. It would still get closer to the wetlands if we moved them, but also you'd be staring at AC condensers from inside the house. It's a small yard, so it also would cost about 20 grand to move them. So based on it being a small variance, we came here today to ask. Oh, and then the detriment, it's obviously Egypt Lane, so they're not really producing any noise that anybody could hear. No neighbors are affected. It's not a neighbor variance. It's not a neighbor who's too close to us. It's again from Egypt Lane. So pretty small variance, and we're here to ask for it today.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience like to speak on this? Board members, any questions?
I just note that the AC units are right up against the applicant's house, so,
And away from the wetlands.
yes.
Motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And, last hearing of the day, Pam?
Application of East Hampton Historical Society, Sub-County Tax Map Number 301-857 for special permit variances in accordance with Chapter 278 zoning to construct an accessory storage barn. Special permit is requested pursuant to Section 278-7D1B to construct an accessory storage barn. A 15.7 variance is requested from Section 278-331 to construct an accessory storage barn 34.3 feet from the side yard lot line, where the required setback is 50 feet. A 2,630 square foot variance is requested from Section 278-3D1 to construct an accessory storage barn containing 2,880 square feet, where the maximum size for an accessory building is 250 square feet. A 1,660 square foot variance is requested from Section 278-3D7 to permit a total of 6,852 square feet of accessory building floor area, where the legally pre-existing combined accessory building floor area is 5,172 square feet. A 9.5 foot variance is requested from Section 278-3D6 to construct an accessory storage barn with an overall height of 23.5 feet, where the maximum permitted height for an accessory building is 14 feet. The subject property is 127,789 square feet in area and is located at 8 James Lane. The property is located in Residence Districts R40 and R80 and the Main Street Historic District. This project requires approval of the Design Review Board and is classified as an unlisted action in accordance with SECR.
Tom?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tom Osborne from Osborne to begin with. 135 Main Street, East Hampton, New York, on behalf of the applicant. We're at the DRB on Tuesday at 9 a.m. and presented the case there, and they were positive about it. Obviously, we wouldn't be here today. Before we start going through the standards, Steve Long, the director of the Rural Society, would like to explain a little bit about why we're doing this.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Steve Long, 38 Maple Lane, East Hampton.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and members of the delighted to be here. I started as the director of the East Hampton Historical Society just over a year ago. And one of the things that I've initially discovered is we have a world-class collection. For the last 100 years, the Historical Society's been the stewards of East Hampton's cultural heritage. We have collected, as I said, a world-class collection of over 20,000 artifacts. To give you a sense of some of the items, Reverend Samuel Buell, the third minister of East Hampton's Meeting House Church, we have his wig that was used by Colonial Williamsburg to find out how 18th century wigs were made. Colonial Williamsburg was coming to us, to East Hampton. We have a scrub brush made by George Fowler, a Montauk gardener who worked at Home Sweet Home and worked at the Moran Studio and a number of other properties. An amazing collection of the material culture of the Montauk people. And outside of the Winterthur Museum in Delaware, we have the world's most outstanding collection of Domini clocks and furniture. So an absolutely world-class collection. Fortunately, they are housed in substandard conditions that really date back from the 1960s and 70s. They're housed in a variety of locations. This isn't what museums should be doing. Museums need to house their collection in centralized locations in climate-controlled facilities. So we're coming to you today to ask for the opportunity to build such a facility that will house our collection in the way it must be housed, really for us to preserve it for the next 100 years. Here we are celebrating our first 100 years. In order to do that for the next 100 years, we need to improve our storage facilities. I'm happy to answer any specific questions about it, but that really in a nutshell is what we're trying to accomplish.
And it will have AC and heat in the building.
It will have state-of-the-art climate control, fire suppression systems, security systems, and also it'll give us the opportunity to have a small research space, because currently we have researchers from all over the country coming to East Hampton, and we don't have the proper facility for them to look at our collection. And in a sense, I mean, it's a bit of an embarrassment. We should have a space for researchers really to learn about East Hampton and its importance here in the United States.
Any board members?
I just have one question. The exterior of the building, the roof and the sidewalls, what do they consist of?
The proposed?
Yeah.
So we are proposing that it would be essentially recreate the current storage barn that was built in the 1970s in its appearance. It would have a metal roof. A metal roof would be the one difference, similar to the metal roof that's on the building at St. Luke's, but otherwise it would look like a barn, like it does today.
Thank you.
The reason for the metal roof is obviously to save money, longevity, and so on.
Is that going to be a standing seam, lead coated roof? Is it, or is it going to look more like that corrugated?
I don't have
It's a bit of a,
And can I just ask Billy, can we go towards building materials on, is that our role? And
the DRB was questioning that too.
is that our role, Billy, or can we ask those?
It's a special permit, so under the guise of a special permit, it's probably not. But the building does need a height variance and it's, the first floor area variance. So I would assume that under the guise of a height variance, you usually look at the appearance of the building.
Because this building will be taller than the building that's in front.
By a few feet, yes.
I think the one's 18 in front and this will be 20, 22 or 23.
I think it's 23 feet in height.
Chairman, can we refer this to the Historical Preservation?
I think we should be
Historic
consistent
Preservation
with what we're
Committee
doing.
to come to report back to us on those issues, whether, because it's clearly not we're not the design review board, but that's what the Preservation Committee is for in terms of giving their feedback to us.
and we'd be referring it specifically for siding and.
Well, for
they're gonna-
comments there.
comments on all of it.
Okay.
Bruce Siska is the architect. He has written that the roof would be a standing seam metal roof by, quote, Englert, unquote, in Galvalume plus mill finish. I don't know what that means, but
Me neither.
that's what he says.
Jimmy?
Yes, so it's got the kind of silvery gray look. That's my understanding.
And it won't fade.
It's not green, it's not red, it's not, yeah. It'll dull slightly, but it's not going to be kind of
It's not going to
popping
be a
out.
bright, shiny roof.
Right.
Got it. The church building right next door also has a metal roof. It's a darker brown color. Do you want to should I go through the standards, the special permit, or would you like just ask questions if you have any?
Anybody have any questions? I mean,
This is all right.
we just take it,
Keep it open to
keep it open and we'll take it to the historical
Okay.
committee and then we'll have them comment. And then we'll reconvene.
Okay, good.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think we have any more business for the day. Motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
In favor?